Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's topic name is What to Say When You're Surprised. And that is exactly what we are here to unpack today. And I think it's one of the most underrated but really essential skills for anyone navigating social interaction in English.
I completely agree.
I mean, think about it. Surprise is this universal human trigger. It's that sudden momentary jolt when your brain processes something, completely unexpected.
Right.
It could be the tiny deviation from your morning routine, or it could be life-altering news. But in that split second, you need language that actually reflects that shift in perception.
It's so fundamental. I mean, if you just nod when you're surprised, the conversation it stalls, the connection breaks.
Totally.
So our goal for this deep dive is to move far beyond just, a basic vocabulary list. We're really aiming for mastery of context, tone, and all those linguistic subtleties.
The things that make a reaction feel genuine,
right?
Not robotic.
Exactly. The things that make it authentic and socially appropriate, whether you're just chatting with friends or, say, addressing a group in a professional setting.
Okay, so before we get into the actual words and phrases, let's talk about the weight of that reaction.
Yeah.
Why is it so crucial to actually say something when you're surprised? It's more than just, letting off steam, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It serves, I'd say, 4 major social functions. The first one is simply acknowledging the unexpected.
Okay.
When you express surprise, you are confirming to the other person, I heard you, and that information genuinely caught me off guard. It's a core indicator of active listening.
That's a good point. If someone tells you they quit their job and you just say, okay, it sounds like you don't care at all.
It sounds totally indifferent, even if you were secretly shocked inside. And that leads to the second function, which is validation.
Validation.
Yeah, your reaction validates the speaker's news. If someone shares something really surprising, good or bad, your genuine emotional response validates their experience. It confirms, yes, this is a big deal, and I get that.
So you're sharing the emotional weight of that moment.
Yeah.
And when you share that emotional state, you're building empathy, right? A connection.
That's it. If I hear your amazing good news, my surprised joy tells you instantly that my reaction is authentic, and that builds trust.
And that leads directly to building rapport.
It does. Mastering these expressions makes you a much more engaging partner in a conversation. If your dialogue is full of, appropriate and varied expressions of surprise, you come across as more emotionally attuned.
Be relatable.
More relatable, more approachable. Without these vocal cues, your responses might inadvertently sound passive or even a bit rude, even if that's not what you intended at all.
That makes perfect sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's start mapping out this terrain of astonishment. We're beginning with section 1. The spectrum of astonishment, moving from, like you said, the tiny ripple to the massive wave.
Starting with the gentle jolt. Mild surprise.
Mild surprise. This is the most common kind, isn't it? It's that slight lift of the eyebrow, the little hesitation in your voice.
Exactly. It's news that deviates a little from the norm but isn't going to redefine your life. And here, simplicity is key. Oh and oh really are your absolute workhorses.
And for English learners, the key to unlocking these is all in the tone, right? The prosody.
Yes, the pitch, the rhythm, the word oh, for example. When you say it with a slight upward inflection, oh, it instantly signals I'm processing new information.
Right. If I say oh flatly, it just means I understand. But if I say oh with that rising pitch, it means, is that true? Or tell me more.
You've got it. And oh, really is so useful because it combines that mild surprise with a way to ask for confirmation.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine a friend mentions that the coffee shop on the corner now closes at 4 instead of 6. Your reaction would be, oh, really? I thought they stayed open later.
You're expressing surprise and also trying to correct your own understanding. It's almost collaborative.
It is. Or in a more personal context, someone says, I've decided to start a new hobby. You'd say, oh, really? What are you starting? The surprise is mixed right in with interest, and it prompts them to say more.
Okay, so moving up a little bit, what about the slightly more emphatic ones like oh my or oh my goodness?
Yeah, those carry a bit more emotional punch. And for learners, the variation here is really critical. Oh my goodness is the perfect, safe substitute for oh my God in almost any context.
Right, it gives you that same level of mild astonishment, but without any religious or maybe overly casual connotations. It's just clean, energetic surprise.
It is. It's often used when an achievement or something you see exceeds your immediate expectations. So, say you're checking a colleague's work and they've finished a really complex task 3 days early.
You'd say something like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic work and way faster than I expected.
Exactly. That phrase conveys immediate, genuine, and positive surprise. Or when you see something visually impressive but not overwhelming, like a huge birthday cake.
Oh my, that's certainly enough dessert for the whole party.
Right. It's an immediate observational kind of gasp.
Okay, so what about some of the more traditional expressions? Things like, well, I never.
Well, I never is a great one. It has this social weight and history to it. It sounds a bit classic, doesn't it? Maybe something your grandmother might say?
Yeah, it's not just surprise. It usually implies you've witnessed some kind of small miracle or something mildly scandalous, often with a humorous tone.
Precisely. It often suggests a gentle, maybe slightly judgmental disbelief about a person's behavior, but in a loving way.
Like if your notoriously messy roommate suddenly cleans the entire apartment.
Perfect example. You'd walk in, look around with a twinkle in your eye and say, oh, no, I never. Look at this place. The world must be ending. It works because it calls back to that shared history of messiness.
So the context is what makes it work. Now, well, that's a surprise. Is much more direct, isn't it?
Much more. It just states the obvious. An unexpected change in the weather, a letter arriving early. It's very neutral.
Okay, what if you need to be neutral and descriptive, especially in, say, a semi-formal or professional setting, where you need to signal surprise without a lot of emotion?
That's where you use phrases like, I didn't expect that, or that's unexpected.
These are so valuable for the workplace. If your boss announces a huge budget cut for the next quarter, you can't just yell, no way.
No, you can't.
But you have to acknowledge the impact. So saying, I didn't expect that, we'll need to schedule a meeting to reevaluate our goals, is professional and measured.
It communicates that the new information directly contradicts your established plans, which is often the core of professional communication when dealing with changes. It's objective.
Okay, let's round out these mild jolts with a couple of lighthearted ones. Fancy that, and imagine that.
Fancy it is wonderfully light, and as you noted, it has a very strong British English flavor. Though it's widely understood, it's perfect for little coincidences.
Like if you and a friend show up to a party wearing the exact same shirt.
Fancy that, we look like twins. It's a warm, amusing reaction.
And imagine that. Is similar, but it often conveys a bit of mild wonder, like, isn't life funny?
Yeah. You learn that two people in your small office graduated from the same tiny university across the country. Imagine that. What are the odds? It really is a small world.
So we've covered the gentle jolts, the minor, daily unexpected things. But what happens when the news is truly startling? When you need language that matches that high-voltage shock?
Right, where the jaw literally drops. We're moving into strong surprise. These are the moments that need immediate, emphatic, and often loud expressions.
And the most common are wow and whoa, right?
The most common and versatile, yes, wow, is our celebratory champion. It is almost always positive, expressing admiration, awe, or delight.
And a key part of it is stretching out that vowel sound. A long, high-pitched woo communicates a much deeper sense of positive surprise than a quick, clipped wow.
That's a crucial insight. The length of the vowel sound directly corresponds to the magnitude of the emotion. You use that long wow for winning an award, seeing a beautiful view, or hearing incredible news.
Wow, that view is absolutely breathtaking.
Exactly. Now, whoa is where the nuance really comes in. While it can express amazement, I find it also frequently carries this feeling of needing to pause or express caution.
That's a great distinction. Whoa is like the verbal brake pedal.
It is. If I tell you a stock price went up 300%, wow is pure excitement. But if I tell you our competitor just laid off half their staff, whoa, that's terrible, implies concern and a need to slow down and assess.
Or if someone is describing something really fast and dangerous, like in a story,
Whoa!
Slow down, I don't want to hear the end of this. It's alarm mixed with surprise.
You've nailed it. It's useful for conveying an element of scale or concern that what usually doesn't have.
Okay, next up, we have that trifecta of disbelief and confirmation seeking. The one's perfect for informal settings when you are genuinely stunned. No way. Are you serious? And you're kidding.
These phrases are so good because they convey that the news is so incredible your brain is almost rejecting it. It's demanding instant validation.
And this is where tone is absolutely critical. If your friend says they ran a marathon on a broken leg, are you serious? Is expressing shock, not skepticism about their honesty.
Exactly. But here's a common question from learners. How do you make sure "no way" for positive news doesn't sound aggressive?
Yeah, if my friend tells me they want a huge grant and I just shout "no way," they might think I'm calling them a liar.
It's a brilliant question, and the answer is in the quick follow-up in your facial expression. When you use it for positive news, "no way" should be delivered with a high excited pitch and immediately followed by a positive affirmation.
So something like, "No way, that is the best news I've heard all year."
Perfect. The immediate positive follow-up clarifies that your disbelief comes from delight, not doubt.
That makes it safe and expressive. Okay, now let's talk about the direct statements of impossibility. I can't believe it, and unbelievable.
These are strong, versatile phrases you use when something truly defies logic or your expectations. An underdog team winning a major championship, for instance. "I can't believe it. This is impossible." It conveys the gravity of that shock. It's direct, emphatic. And as we mentioned earlier, depending on the context, these can be heavily tinted with other emotions like anger. If a policy you fought against is suddenly approved, you might say, "Unbelievable, after all our work, they still approved it." The disbelief is laced with frustration.
Right, so the foundational surprise is the vessel, and the emotion, joy, anger, whatever, is the liquid you pour into it.
That's a great way to put it.
Let's look at the idioms next, because they're so expressive. You can knock me over with a feather.
I love this one. The imagery is just so clear. It means you're so intensely surprised that you are physically destabilized. Even the slightest touch would make you fall.
It's dramatic, it's charming, and it's really effective in informal settings. It's a perfect way to exaggerate your shock without sounding aggressive at all.
It is. Say your quiet, very shy colleague suddenly announces they're quitting to become a stunt double in Hollywood.
You can knock me over with a feather. I had no idea you were even interested in that. It communicates a total reversal of what you thought you knew about that person.
It emphasizes how profoundly the news has thrown you off balance.
And finally, for when the surprise is so profound it affects you physically, we have "I'm speechless" and "it took my breath away."
These are really reserved for awe and profound shock. "I'm speechless" means the emotion is so overwhelming you literally can't form a coherent thought.
Right. It suggests profound respect or astonishment.
And "it took my breath away" is even more visceral. It speaks to a physical response, a gasp, or a moment where you stop breathing, usually triggered by beauty, awe, or profound emotional impact.
Like seeing a sunset over the Grand Canyon or receiving an incredible honor.
Yes, it elevates the surprise beyond mere words and into the realm of physical sensation.
This gives us a great framework for intensity. But intensity is only half the story. The emotional quality of the surprise, whether it's positive or negative, is so crucial for choosing the right words.
Which brings us to section 2, valence matters.
Valence. So that's the term we use to describe the emotional charge, right? Is the surprise happy and positive or upsetting and negative?
Exactly. And getting this right is vital for social connection. If someone gives you good news and you react with a phrase meant for a tragedy, you've missed the mark completely.
Okay, so let's start with the joy of the unexpected. Positive surprises.
When the surprise is a source of delight, we need language that is warm and appreciative. The most direct phrases here are, "What a pleasant surprise," or "That's a lovely surprise."
They're excellent because they're so appreciative and polite. They're suitable for almost any context. Say you get to work and find a surprise gift basket from a client.
"What a pleasant surprise. Thank you, that really brightened my morning." It acknowledges the unexpected goodness immediately.
And there's a slight difference between pleasant and lovely, isn't there? Lovely feels a bit warmer, maybe more personal.
It does. Lovely is often used for things that are aesthetically pleasing or deeply appreciated, like a lovely unexpected visit from a family member. Pleasant is a bit more general.
Okay, now sometimes the surprise isn't happening to us, but to a friend. And that needs supportive language. The essential phrase there is, "I am so happy for you."
This is the supportive bridge phrase. When someone announces an unexpected promotion or a pregnancy, your initial surprise might be, "Wow." But the immediate social requirement is to offer warmth.
So you combine them. "Wow, I'm so happy for you. I never expected that news today. Tell me everything."
That's the perfect social response. And for general enthusiasm, we rely on broad, positive adjectives. "That's wonderful," "That's amazing," and "That's fantastic."
Your go-to phrases for celebrating any success, big or small.
Exactly. They're easily applicable. Your team exceeds sales targets, leading to a surprise bonus. That's fantastic. The hard work really paid off unexpectedly. They're clean, simple, and effective expressions of delight.
I want to circle back to I didn't see that coming, because the valence, the emotion, completely transforms this otherwise neutral phrase.
It does. When you deliver it with high energy and a smile, I didn't see that coming, transforms from a descriptive fact into an expression of enthusiastic delight.
Like if your favorite band announces a surprise last-minute show in your city.
Oh my goodness, I didn't see that coming. I have to get tickets. The unexpected nature just heightens the excitement.
And lastly, for the positive side, for an unexpected, enjoyable event, we have what a treat.
This phrase specifically implies a special, enjoyable pleasure. It's used when an unexpected item or experience feels, luxurious or highly welcome.
So if someone brings gourmet coffee and pastries to a boring meeting.
What a treat! I was really dragging this afternoon. It expresses genuine gratitude mixed with the delight of the unexpected item.
Okay, let's pivot hard now. We need to prepare for when the valence shifts dramatically. The unexpected negative events that bring shock, disappointment, or skepticism.
Right. When the news is unwelcome, we move through a spectrum, starting with mild distress or inconvenience. For these moments, we use "oh no" and "oh dear."
Oh no is direct and immediate.
Oh dear
Is gentler and, yeah, it does feel a little older-fashioned, but it's great for conveying sympathetic, mild distress.
It is. Imagine you're at a dinner party and someone accidentally spills a glass of wine. Oh no, let me get a towel. You're expressing immediate concern.
And if someone just loses their car keys, oh dear, that's inconvenient. Have you retraced your steps?
Perfect. But when the news is truly serious, a loss, a major failure, we have to escalate the language to strong disapproval and sympathy.
That's terrible. That's awful. How dreadful.
These phrases must be reserved for serious, often tragic news. They convey not just surprise, but genuine shock and profound sympathy.
You wouldn't use "that's terrible" if the internet goes out for 5 minutes.
Absolutely not. You use it if a family member has an accident or a friend's home is affected by a natural disaster. That's awful news. I am so sorry to hear that.
Okay, then we enter the realm of incredulous denial, often with a bit of frustration mixed in. I don't believe it, and you're joking.
In a negative context, these phrases are much heavier. They often convey frustration that the unexpected negative event has caused wasted effort or serious consequences.
Like if a project you've worked on for weeks is suddenly canceled.
I don't believe it. Who made that decision? The disbelief is rooted in anger and frustration over the blunder.
And "you're joking" implies the news is so absurdly negative that it can't possibly be true. Finding out your flight was canceled 5 minutes before boarding. You're joking. That's impossible. Why wasn't I notified?
And when the problem completely overwhelms the situation, leading to chaos, we signal that emotional overwhelm with, "this is a nightmare," and "what a mess."
These are for when a situation just rapidly deteriorates. A major system crashed during a critical presentation. Oh, this is a nightmare. We need IT here now.
They communicate distress, frustration, and a sudden negative surprise at the severity of the problem.
Okay, what about more formal, descriptive language for being completely stunned? The kind of words that are great for professional settings.
For that, you have "I'm flabbergasted" and "I'm dumbfounded."
These words are great because they describe the state of being astonished. Being so overwhelmed, your mind just stops without using informal slang.
Right. If a corporate audit reveals a completely unexpected financial problem, the auditors might be flabbergasted by the scale of the error. If a shocking truth about a competitor is revealed in a confidential meeting, the room might be dumbfounded.
So they're formal, strong, and highly articulate.
They are.
And finally, we have to reiterate the warning about those highly confrontational expressions of disbelief. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
And you must be crazy.
Learners should be extremely cautious here. These are emotionally charged, highly informal, and are used when an action is so incredibly illogical or destructive that it questions the speaker's sanity.
They're tools of confrontation, not general social check.
Exactly. A friend announcing they invested their entire retirement savings in a single unproven cryptocurrency might get this reaction from a horrified friend. Are you out of your mind? That's unbelievably risky.
So the surprise there is entirely negative, rooted in fear and judgment.
Right. So we've learned that the valence of the surprise dictates whether you reach for language that comforts, celebrates, or confronts. But even with the right words, delivery is everything.
Which brings us perfectly to section 3, mastering the delivery, context, tone, and body language.
If a selection of words is the blueprint, then context is the construction code. Choosing the right expression depends entirely on who you are talking to and the environment.
Mismatching can be so embarrassing.
It creates dissonance. If the language is too casual for a serious setting, you look unprofessional. If it's too formal for a casual setting, you sound stiff, maybe even sarcastic.
So let's really dedicate some time to these distinctions. In informal or casual settings, with friends, family, people you know well, you have complete freedom to be expressive, right?
Complete freedom. This is where phrases like "holy cow," "no kidding," and "get out of town" really thrive.
Get out of town is a great idiom. It just means, I don't believe you. That's shocking, in a playful way.
It does. Let's run through an informal scenario. You and a friend are talking about your old college professor, Professor Thompson, and your friend says,
You'll never guess who I saw yesterday. Professor Thompson is now performing at children's birthday parties as a professional clown.
the reaction would be, "Are you serious? No way, Professor Thompson, the guy who taught advanced quantum physics. Holy cow, get out of town."
Notice that rapid-fire use of informal exclamations. Combined with the personal context, it makes the surprise feel completely genuine and conversational.
Now, let's contrast that with formal or professional settings. Think boardrooms, official interviews, structured presentations. We have to be restrained.
The vocabulary needs to be polite, neutral, and focused on the practical impact, not the emotional shock. So we'd stick to things like, that's unexpected, or I hadn't anticipated that.
Exactly. Let's do a formal dialogue. The head of operations says, due to a last-minute change in compliance regulations, the launch date for Project Zenith must be moved back by 3 full months.
A junior manager definitely cannot say, OMG, that sucks. A professional response would be something like, I'm surprised to hear that. I hadn't anticipated such a significant delay. Can you elaborate on the implications for our budget?
That's perfect. The professional response acknowledges the surprise and immediately transitions to assessing the consequences. It shows that surprise in a formal setting is an administrative challenge, not a personal one.
And then there's the middle ground. Semi-formal settings, like a team lunch or an industry mixer. You can show personality, but you still have to be polite.
Here, you'd use softer exclamations combined with descriptive phrases. Oh, really? Oh my goodness, or I can hardly believe it.
So imagine you're at a conference and a colleague tells you that your biggest competitor just opened a huge new office right across the street from your headquarters.
A good response would be, oh my goodness, that is quite a surprise. I can hardly believe they would make such a bold move. What do you think their strategy will be?
It acknowledges the magnitude with, oh my goodness, but immediately steers the conversation toward professional analysis. That keeps it semi-formal and appropriate.
The takeaway is always to ask yourself, if this conversation were recorded and sent to my boss, would I still sound appropriate?
That's a great test. Okay, now let's explore the physical side. Words are only part of the story. Nonverbal cues are essential for conveying authenticity.
They really are. Nonverbal communication validates your emotional state. The classic involuntary physiological reactions are universal. The raised eyebrows, the wide eyes.
That's an evolutionary thing, right? We're trying to take in as much information as possible.
It is. And for strong surprise, we get the open mouth or the dropped jaw, often with a quick, sharp intake of breath. A gasp.
That gasp is such a fundamental sign of astonishment or shock. It's involuntary. But if a learner can subtly incorporate an audible gasp before saying, I can't believe it, the delivery becomes instantly more authentic.
It really does. Then there's instinctive movement, a slight step back or leaning away from startling news. And also, putting your hands over your mouth, which often signals shock or sometimes embarrassment if the news is negative.
And we have to come back to prosody, the way we use our voice pitch, volume, rhythm. That's arguably the most important nonverbal cue when we're speaking.
It is. The pitch of the voice dramatically increases when conveying surprise. A sudden, high-pitched vocal frequency signals immediate, genuine shock.
A high-stretched woo for delight versus a clipped high whoa for alarm.
Exactly. The physical sound helps distinguish the valence even before the brain processes the words. So that alignment between words and body language is the key to sincerity.
If I say, I'm speechless, I should combine that with a momentary stillness, a blank stare, and a slightly higher, awe-filled pitch.
And if you say no way, with genuine excitement, the phrase should be quick, high-pitched, and accompanied by wide eyes and a slight headshake. The physical expression reinforces that you were genuinely caught off guard.
For learners, this is where practice really has to move beyond just vocabulary lists. You need to use techniques like watching English media and practicing mimicry.
You're essentially training muscle memory for emotion. When you practice saying, "That's fantastic," while genuinely smiling and widening your eyes, you are bridging that gap between knowing the words and expressing them authentically.
That brings us perfectly to our final, crucial section. How do we integrate all these complex skills into seamless, natural conversation?
Okay, section 4, integration and refinement.
Practice and pitfalls.
The transition from just learning a phrase to using it instinctively requires intentional strategy, and active listening is paramount.
So when you hear native speakers, pay attention to their context, their emphasis, how loud they are, how high their pitch is.
Yes, that builds the intuition you need to select the right expression instantly.
And don't try to master the entire spectrum today. Start small.
Please, get comfortable with maybe 3 versatile phrases first. A neutral one like, "That's unexpected," a strong positive one like, "Wow," and a strong negative one like, "Oh no." Once those are automatic, then you can layer in more complexity.
We'd also recommend role-playing scenarios. Find a language partner, or even just practice self-talk.
Run through specific situations. "I just want a trip to Italy. I just totaled my car." Practice reacting authentically to each valence and intensity level.
And a phrase journal is so useful, not just for definitions, but for full context mapping. For every new expression, write down its meaning, its valence, its context, and maybe even a visual cue.
Like drawing a face with wide eyes next to "no way." That contextual mapping really speeds up retention.
What about shadowing?
The combination of shadowing and recording is invaluable. Shadowing is repeating lines from English media with the exact same intonation and rhythm.
And then you record yourself immediately after and listen back.
Right. And listen back critically. Do you sound natural, or do you sound like you're reading? Often, learners realize their pitch is too flat or their emphasis is misplaced, and that recording gives you objective feedback.
And we keep saying it, but focus on intonation. If you say, "Are you serious?" with a downward inflection, it sounds like an accusation. With a rising, high-pitched inflection, it sounds like shocked wonder. The tone dictates everything.
It really does.
Okay, to truly refine this skill, you need to recognize the common traps that can derail natural communication. The first and most critical is context mismatch.
We've stressed this, but it's the most frequent mistake. Using highly informal language like "holy cow" in a professional business presentation just undermines your credibility.
And on the other side, telling your partner, "I must confess, I'm deeply astonished by the presence of this new tattoo," when they get a tiny butterfly on their ankle, sounds ludicrously stiff.
It does. The second major trap is lacking emotion or delivering your surprise in a flat, monotone voice. Surprise is emotional by definition.
If you say, "That's wonderful," without any energy, it just sounds like you don't care.
Right. The third trap is overusing a single expression. If "wow" is your answer to everything, you lose all nuance. You become predictable.
Build that repertoire. Use the right tool for the job.
Then we have direct translation. You can't translate idiomatic expressions word for word from your native language. They will either make no sense or, worse, convey something you didn't mean at all.
So learn expressions like "get out of town" as complete units, focusing on their social function.
And finally, that subtle but crucial trap, confusing surprise with disagreement. This is most common when using expressions of disbelief for positive news.
If someone announces they just got a huge salary raise, and you respond with a flat, low-pitched, "I don't believe it," the speaker might hear skepticism. Like, you don't think they deserved it.
Right. The difference must be articulated instantly. If the surprise is positive, the disbelief has to be followed by immediate, high-pitched excitement.
"I can't believe it. That's incredible. Congratulations."
That clarifies that your shock is based on how amazing the news is, not any doubt about their capabilities. Being mindful of these pitfalls allows you to express your true reaction with so much more accuracy and confidence.
We have journeyed through the full spectrum of astonishment today.
We have, from the subtle, "oh really," to the formal, "I'm flabbergasted," and the idiomatic, "you could knock me over with a feather." The core lesson is that expressing surprise is an essential conversational skill that adds depth and empathy and richness to your communication.
The true goal isn't just memorization, is it?
No, it's about cultivating that intuition, that ear for context, understanding the social necessity of validation, and ensuring your words, your tone, and your body language are all perfectly aligned. The more you immerse yourself in observation and practice, the more effortless and authentic your reactions will become.
So here is a final provocative thought for you to carry forward. The next time the unexpected occurs, Consciously match your reaction, whether it's, oh my goodness, or that's unexpected, not only to the event itself, but to the person delivering it. Your reaction is part of a social contract. You are helping them validate their reality and experience. If you focus on confirming their experience of the surprise, you will build deeper, more meaningful rapport.
That's a great thought.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive into the language of surprise. Thank you for joining us today. Keep practicing, keep observing, and keep surprising yourself with how much you can learn. And if you found this deep dive useful, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.